What if the most powerful tool for preventing a devastating stroke wasn't in your medicine cabinet, but right inside your refrigerator? What if some of the foods you eat every day, foods that might seem harmless, are actively increasing your risk of a brain attack, an event that's a leading cause of death and disability worldwide? The thought of a stroke is terrifying. The sudden loss of function, the potential for permanent disability. It's a fear many of us have. But what if you could change that? Research shows that a huge percentage of strokes are preventable through lifestyle changes, and your diet is one of the most critical factors you have control over. You might be shocked to learn just how much power your daily meals hold over your brain's health. Today, we're breaking down the powerful, and often surprising, connection between specific foods and your stroke risk. We'll cover what you need to eat more of and, just as importantly, what you need to avoid. This isn't about some fad diet or a quick fix. This is about understanding the science of how food directly impacts your blood pressure, your blood vessels, and all the systems that keep your brain working. We're going to give you the knowledge to make smart, life-altering choices every time you eat. We'll start by exposing the dietary villains that quietly build your risk, and then we'll celebrate the heroes that form a protective shield around your brain. Stick with me, because this information could genuinely change the course of your life. 1. The silent threat. Understanding the diet-stroke connection. Before we get to the food, let's quickly clarify what we're up against. A stroke is often called a brain attack, and that's a great way to think about it. It happens when the blood supply to part of your brain gets cut off, starving brain tissue of oxygen and nutrients. Within minutes, brain cells start to die. Most strokes are ischemic, caused by a blocked artery that accounts for about 87 of them. The other kind is a hemorrhagic stroke, caused by a leaking or bursting blood vessel. For years, the focus for stroke prevention has been on managing high blood pressure, quitting smoking, and controlling diabetes and cholesterol. And all of that is incredibly important. But there's a powerful factor that influences all of these risks: the food you put in your body. We all know that diet is linked to weight gain or heart disease. But its direct, potent influence on your stroke risk is a story that isn't told nearly enough. So, how can a sandwich or a soda actually affect your brain? The connection happens deep inside your body through two main things: inflammation and oxidative stress. Think of inflammation as your body's response to injury. A little bit is good. But when your diet is full of certain foods, it can create constant, low-grade inflammation all over, including in your blood vessels. This damages the delicate lining of your arteries, making them stiff and encouraging dangerous plaques to form. At the same time, your diet can trigger oxidative stress. This is when harmful molecules called free radicals overwhelm your body's defenses. These free radicals are like tiny sparks that damage your cells. In your vascular system, this damage directly weakens and narrows your arteries, setting the stage for a catastrophic blockage. So as we go through the foods to avoid and the foods to embrace, remember these two culprits: inflammation and oxidative stress are the bridges connecting your plate to your brain. 2. The danger zone. Top 5 foods that skyrocket your stroke risk. Alright, let's get into the foods that are the most damaging to your brain health. Some of these won't surprise you, but the degree to which they increase your risk might. Understanding why they're so harmful is the first step toward getting them out of your diet. Food 1. Processed meats. First on the danger list are processed meats. We're talking about bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, and other packaged meat products. Major studies have consistently found that a daily serving of processed meat is tied to a significant increase in stroke risk. The link is so strong that most health guidelines, including those for the stroke-preventing Mediterranean diet, strongly advise against them. But why are they so bad? It's a triple threat. First, they're loaded with sodium. A few slices of deli meat can blow through a huge chunk of your daily sodium limit. This sodium overload directly drives up your blood pressure, which is the single biggest risk factor for stroke. Second, they're often high in saturated fats, which raise your bad LDL cholesterol and help build up that plaque in your arteries. Third, and maybe the sneakiest part, are the preservatives, especially nitrates and nitrites. When you eat them, your body can create compounds that promote oxidative stress and inflammation. This directly contributes to a condition where the lining of your blood vessels stops working properly, which is a precursor to clogged arteries. That daily ham sandwich or those weekend sausages aren't just a meal, they're actively contributing to the conditions that lead to a stroke. Food 2. Sugary drinks and refined carbohydrates. Next up is a category that has become a staple in modern diets. Sugary drinks and refined carbs. This includes sodas, sweetened juices, energy drinks, and foods made with white flour like white bread, pastries, and cookies. For years, everyone was focused on fat, but we now know that sugar is a primary villain in the story of vascular disease. When you drink a soda or eat a pastry, your body gets hit with a rapid flood of sugar. This causes a huge spike in your blood glucose. Your pancreas then has to work overtime, pumping out insulin to handle it all. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a stepping stone to type 2 diabetes, which is a major risk factor for stroke. But the damage doesn't stop there. High levels of glucose in your blood are directly toxic to the lining of your blood vessels. It's like coating your arteries in sugar, causing inflammation and oxidative stress that weaken and stiffen them. That can of soda isn't just empty calories. It's an inflammatory event for your circulatory system. Swapping these out for water and whole grains is one of the most powerful changes you can make. Food 3. Artificial trans fats. Partially hydrogenated oils. Of all the fats, artificial trans fats are the absolute worst for your health. They're created in a factory by turning liquid oils into solid fats to improve food texture and shelf life. Thankfully, they've been largely banned or phased out in many places, but they can still linger in some products, so you have to be vigilant. Why are they so dangerous? Trans fats attack your cholesterol from two sides. They significantly raise your bad LDL cholesterol while at the same time lowering your good HDL cholesterol. Your HDL is like the body's cleanup crew, removing excess cholesterol from your arteries. By crippling this system, trans fats speed up artery clogging faster than anything else. One study showed that trans fats were associated with a 13% increased risk of stroke. Always check ingredient labels. If you see partially hydrogenated oil, put it back. There is no safe level of artificial trans fats. They are purely a product of food science and have no place in a brain-healthy diet. Food 4. Excessive sodium and ultra-processed foods. We already mentioned sodium with processed meats, but it deserves its own spot because it's everywhere and it's so dangerous. High sodium intake is a primary driver of high blood pressure, the leading cause of stroke that you can actually change. The World Health Organization recommends adults consume less than a teaspoon of salt per day. Most people eat more than double that. Here's how it works. When you eat too much sodium, your body holds onto extra water to dilute it. This increases the amount of blood in your bloodstream, which increases the pressure against your artery walls. Think of it like turning up the pressure in a garden hose over time. It causes wear and tear. This constant pressure damages and stiffens your arteries, making a blockage or rupture much more likely. The biggest culprit isn't your salt shaker. It's hidden in processed, packaged, and restaurant foods. Canned soups, frozen dinners, condiments, and fast food are packed with it. A single restaurant meal can have more than your entire daily sodium allowance. This is a huge reason why ultra-processed foods are so strongly linked to poor health. Recent studies show that for every 10 increase in ultra-processed food consumption, the risk of stroke goes up by 8. Reading labels and cooking at home are your best defenses. Food 5. Red meat in excess. Finally, let's talk about red meat. It's different from processed meat, but a high intake of fresh red meat, like beef and pork, is also linked to an increased stroke risk. The main concern here is the high content of saturated fat, which, as we've said, can raise your bad cholesterol levels. There's also another, more complex thing that happens. Red meat contains a compound called L-carnitine. Certain gut bacteria turn L-carnitine into a substance called TMAO, and high levels of TMAO are strongly linked to a higher risk of atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. This doesn't mean you have to eliminate red meat completely. The key word is excess. A diet like the Mediterranean diet doesn't forbid red meat, but it treats it as something you eat rarely, maybe a few times a month, while focusing on fish, chicken, and plant-based proteins instead. The problem is when red meat is a daily staple, pushing more protective foods off your plate. Before we move on to the hero foods that can slash your stroke risk, if you're finding this information valuable, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. What we're all about here is bringing you evidence-based, life-saving health knowledge that's easy to understand and act on. Your support helps us reach more people who really need to hear this. And I have a question for you. Which of these danger zone foods are you most surprised to see on the list? Or which one will be the hardest for you to give up? Let me know in the comments. I read them all and would love to hear from you. Section 3. The Protection Plan. Top 5 food groups for a stroke-proof diet. Now that we've cleared out the villains, let's talk about the foods that protect you. These are the food groups that study after study have shown can dramatically lower your risk of having a stroke. This isn't about one miracle food, but about building an overall eating pattern that nourishes and protects your entire vascular system. Food Group 1. Fruits and vegetables. If there's one place to start, this is it. A high intake of fruits and vegetables is consistently linked to a much lower risk of stroke. When researchers analyzed 20 different studies, they found a clear pattern. People who ate the most fruits and veggies had up to a 21% lower risk of stroke than those who ate the least. And the more you eat, the better the protection. The goal should be at least 4 to 5 servings every single day. What makes them so powerful? They're packed with a protective mix of nutrients. First, they're a key source of potassium, which is the natural counterbalance to sodium. While sodium raises blood pressure, potassium helps relax your blood vessel walls and flush out excess sodium, actively helping to lower blood pressure. Foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, and avocados are potassium powerhouses. Second, fruits and veggies are loaded with fiber, which helps lower cholesterol and manage blood sugar. Finally, they're bursting with antioxidants, like vitamin C in oranges or lycopene in tomatoes, which fight that damaging oxidative stress we talked about earlier. Leafy greens like spinach and kale are especially great, as they're rich in magnesium and nitrates that help improve blood flow. In fact, one study found that just 1 cup of leafy greens per day was linked to a 17% lower risk of the most common type of stroke. Food Group 2. Whole grains. It's time to make a permanent switch from refined grains to whole grains. While white bread is on our danger list, its whole grain counterparts oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa, and 100 whole wheat bread are firmly on the protection list. The difference is huge. The refining process strips away the best parts of the grain, removing most of the fiber, B vitamins, and magnesium. The star player in whole grains is fiber. The kind of fiber found in oats and barley forms a gel in your digestive tract that actually binds to cholesterol and helps carry it out of your body. It also slows down the absorption of sugar, preventing those sharp blood sugar spikes that damage arteries. Simply swapping white rice for brown rice, or white bread for whole wheat, is a simple but powerful change for your heart and brain. Food Group 3. Healthy fats. Omega-3s and monounsaturated fats. For decades, fat was the enemy, but now we know that the type of fat you eat is what really matters. Healthy fats are not just good for you, they are essential for preventing a stroke. There are two main kinds to focus on. First is monounsaturated fat, and the undisputed champion here is extra virgin olive oil. This is the cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet for good reason. It's rich in antioxidants and has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. One major analysis found that adding less than 2 tablespoons of olive oil to your diet each day was associated with an 18% reduced risk of stroke. Second are polyunsaturated fats, specifically omega-3 fatty acids. These are potent anti-inflammatory agents that help lower triglycerides, reduce blood pressure, and improve the overall health of your blood vessels. The best sources are fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Aiming for 2 to 3 servings of these fish per week is a great goal. A huge 2023 analysis found that people with the highest blood levels of omega-3s had up to an 18% lower risk of ischemic stroke. You can also get omega-3s from walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. Food Group 4. Lean and plant-based proteins. A critical part of a stroke prevention diet is shifting your main protein sources away from red and processed meats and toward leaner, more protective options. This means embracing chicken, fish, and a wide variety of plant-based proteins. As we discussed, fish gives you a double benefit of lean protein and anti-inflammatory omega-3s. Skinless chicken is another great choice because it's much lower in the saturated fat found in red meat. But the real unsung heroes here are plant-based proteins. Legumes, which includes beans, lentils, and chickpeas, are fantastic. They're packed with protein, loaded with cholesterol-lowering fiber, and are an excellent source of blood pressure-regulating potassium and magnesium. Adding lentils to soups, chickpeas to salads, or swapping ground beef for black beans in tacos are easy ways to boost your nutrients while cutting down on harmful fats. Eating a diet rich in these plant-based options is a core principle of every single eating pattern shown to reduce stroke risk. Food Group 5. Nuts and seeds. For a long time, many people avoided nuts because they are high in fat and calories. We now know this was a huge mistake. Nuts and seeds are incredibly nutrient-dense foods that offer strong protection against stroke. The famous PREDIMED study showed that a Mediterranean diet supplemented with a daily handful of nuts led to a major reduction in cardiovascular events, including stroke. What makes them so special? It's their unique mix of nutrients. They are a fantastic source of healthy fats, including the omega-3s found in walnuts. They provide a good dose of fiber and are rich in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant. Plus, they're packed with magnesium, a mineral that's crucial for healthy blood pressure. A small handful of almonds, walnuts, or pistachios, or a tablespoon of flax or chia seeds each day is an easy and delicious way to fortify your diet. They're a perfect example of how small, consistent choices can lead to massive health benefits. Section 4. Putting it all together. The Mediterranean diet blueprint. We've talked about foods to avoid and foods to embrace. But how do you put this all together in a way that you can actually stick with? The best approach isn't to get obsessed with counting every gram of potassium. It's to adopt a dietary pattern, and the one with the most solid science behind it for stroke prevention is the Mediterranean diet. Study after study confirms its benefits. One massive 2025 analysis found that sticking closely to a Mediterranean diet significantly reduces stroke risk. The famous PREDIMED trial showed a risk reduction of around 30 for those on a Mediterranean diet with extra olive oil or nuts compared to a standard low-fat diet. So, what does this look like? It's not a restrictive diet. It's a lifestyle centered on whole, minimally processed foods. It perfectly combines everything we've just talked about. The core ideas are simple. 1. Plants are the foundation. Most of your meals should be built around fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. 2. Olive oil is your main fat. Use extra virgin olive oil for everything, replacing butter and other fats. 3. Protein from fish and chicken. Eat fatty fish at least twice a week. Use chicken for other meals. 4. Nuts and seeds are a daily habit. A handful of nuts or a sprinkle of seeds should be part of your daily routine. 5. Dairy in moderation. Choose low-fat options like Greek yogurt and some cheeses. 6. Red and processed meats are rare. These are for special occasions, not weekly staples. This is a huge shift from a typical Western diet. 7. Sweets are a treat. Fruit is your go-to dessert. 8. Flavor with herbs and spices. Use herbs and spices to make food delicious instead of relying on salt. So what might a day look like? Breakfast. A bowl of Greek yogurt with fresh berries and a sprinkle of walnuts. Lunch. A big salad with grilled chicken, chickpeas, and plenty of veggies, dressed with olive oil and lemon juice. Dinner. A fillet of baked salmon with herbs, served with quinoa and roasted asparagus. Snack. An apple and a small handful of almonds. That doesn't sound like deprivation, does it? It's a vibrant, delicious, and satisfying way of eating. The power of the Mediterranean diet is in its synergy, all those anti-inflammatory fats, antioxidants, and fibers working together to protect your blood vessels. It's about the overall pattern, not being perfect at every single meal. The link between what you eat and your risk of a stroke is direct, powerful, and ultimately, empowering. We've seen how processed meats, sugary drinks, and ultra-processed snacks can damage the very vessels that supply life to your brain. But we've also seen the incredible power of protective foods, how a diet filled with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, olive oil, nuts, and fish can build a powerful defense system. You hold in your hands and on your fork one of the best tools for protecting your brain. The choices you make at the grocery store and in your kitchen aren't small things. They are votes for your long-term health. Every meal is a chance to nourish your body, lower your blood pressure, fight inflammation, and build a more resilient you. The goal is to focus on a pattern of whole food eating. Dramatically cut back on processed foods, sugar, and salt. Fill your plate with color from fruits and vegetables. Make olive oil your go-to fat. Choose fish, chicken, beans, and nuts for your protein. This isn't about a diet of deprivation, it's about an upgrade to a lifestyle of vitality. If this video was helpful, please share it with anyone you care about. This information is too important to keep to yourself. A simple change in diet, inspired by this message, could truly help save a life. Thanks for watching, and here's to you taking charge of your health, one delicious, brain-protective meal at a time.